Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
that is better for you to drink beer than the sauce, right?
Oh, yeah, I guess so.
Because of your,
Well, no, it really doesn't matter. I mean,
oh yeah, it's bad. No, I mean, beer's not as bad.
yeah. Yeah, I'll just let I'm not gonna do any more Carmelo Anthony videos, Austin Metcalf videos. That's because the law must do its work. So no matter what anybody says on the internet, it's all gonna come down to the trial. So this will be about my final video on the matter. Only did like 1 or 2, and so I deleted 1 because I was obviously outraged, as many people were. So I made a video in a emotional type state, and so yeah, never make a video in an angry emotional state, and that can be for anything, but definitely not the Austin Metcalf Carmelo Anthony case. So, which has stunned and outraged the world, especially here if you're a native Texan, if you're a Texan in America in general, and the world in general. So now it's become kind of a case that started in Frisco, Texas. Now it's captured Texans' attention, it's captured national attention, and now it's captured the world's attention. So the world will be watching carefully with this case. I realized pretty early on, as the case started to spin out of control, I realized that this case is going to cause severe damage. I know it's going to be a shitstorm. So, I realized that this case is going to be on a level that the Austin Metcalf murder by Carmelo Anthony, stabbing him through his heart, that this case is going to be a watershed moment, just like, I don't know, the Rodney King case from the early 1990s, the O.J. Simpson case from the 1995, the other cases, George Floyd and etc. Except the roles are reversed, obviously, and so this is going to be an earth-shattering moment for race relations and race grifting and race baiters in this country. It's going to be a really epic showdown between law and order and disorder. And it's going to be a gigantic battle between crime and punishment of crimes, the execution of punishment for illegal and murderous deeds. So, yeah. For that reason, I will not be commenting on the Austin Metcalf Carmelo Anthony case until that time, when it's right after the verdict. I will not also be commenting on the Luigi Mangione case either. I know he's just got federal charges brought against him. He is eligible for the death penalty because he murdered a guy in cold blood when he was 26. The DA in the case of Carmelo Anthony has not charged him. He said he cannot charge him with felony murder that has the death penalty on the table. He said he can't even give him life in prison for depriving Austin Metcalf of his life by stabbing him through the heart. He says the best that he could do is give him life with parole. So I don't know what life with parole means in Texas. I would estimate that's probably a really long time. I bet it's better than the two-tier justice system between coloreds and white people in Great Britain. United Kingdom that has a really horrific anti-white, anti-native, liberal global world order, Soros DAs and judges system going on in England. England has fallen in terms of its justice system. So it has a two-tier justice system, one that punishes the natives for getting angry about the foreigners, and one that gives certain races and ethnicities and foreigners, illegals, and migrants special privileges and laws. So, which is going to cause like a major civil war in England. And so, as far as I know, we've already had a civil war here in the United States. So we're not eagle. We're not eagle or eager to have that happen again, once again, as it were. So. The judge in the Carmelo Anthony case reduced the bond from $1 million to $250,000, which was easily met by his fundraisers of Carmelo Anthony, which have raised $500,000 or even more, maybe upwards of $1 million or $2 million. Some outrageous sum. I believe that the Anthonys have a new car, a new house. I'm hearing all these things, that they have all these great luxuries because they're GoFundMe's and their what's it called, Kick Go, some shit. I don't know. I don't know all the crowdfunding websites, but I suppose there's plenty. So the circus, the clown circus of a murderer getting his family getting mansions and getting nice cars after he stabbed a man to death through his heart, is very concerning to those around the world that are concerned with real justice, regardless of race or ethnicity or class. This is very concerning to the what is supposed to be the blind eyes of American justice. This is a major problem. So I suppose it's Soros judges, or Soros bought George Soros DAs and judges which are doing this. These catch and release by these violent criminals that are of a certain ethnicity and race, not just in New York or California, but in liberal cities and districts in Texas as well. Texas has been throughout most of its history a non-woke, non-liberal kind of state, a no-nonsense state in terms of law and order and justice. And it's been pretty safe relatively for, since its existence and admittance to the Union in 1845. But here of late, we have a lot of foreign invaders and adversaries that have tried to take over Texas, whether it be good old Mexico, the Venezuelans, because their country has collapsed, MS-13 gang members, a lot of Latin American drug cartel gangs have tried to infiltrate and take over Texas. Foreign adversaries such as the Chinese Communist Party, the Russian Federation, Iran, Islamic fundamentalist jihad, you name it. Yeah, you can name it off and one by one, but a lot of people have tried to take over Texas. Liberals, George Soros, the Democrat Party has tried to flip Texas into a blue state so they could have a uniparty state rule for the next 20, 30 years. They've the Biden-Harris administration, the Democrat Party, has flooded 10 to 12 million illegal aliens into our state, into our nation, to catastrophic results thus far. So we're under a foreign invasion, and we have been under Barack Hussein Obama and Joseph R. Biden's rule in this country for at least that long, if not longer. And of course, there's liberal open society foundations by George Soros, the man who broke the Bank of England. So they're trying to take our land. They're trying to take our state. They're trying to take our birth home. They want it because it's big, it's beautiful, it's sprawling. There's lots of wilderness. You could hide a Chinese foreign base, Mike Pompeo, former CIA director, he shut down a Chinese base in Houston, Texas. They're trying to take our country. They're trying to take our state, and they're trying to take our nation. It's no bullshit. They want it. Whoever they are, they want it. Because it's beautiful, it's free, there's trees and lakes and rivers, it's nice. They want our shit. They want our minerals, they want our land, our people, they want everything. They want to take it from us. So our birthright, our home. Everybody wants Texas because they know if the Chinese communists and the Mexicans and the Venezuelans, they ain't dumb, and the drug cartels, they know if they could take Texas, they could have United States by the fucking scrotum. They know that for a fact. So that's why they want us so bad. So, are we going to let them take it? Are we going to let them have it? Fuck no. But they're going to try to take it from us, though. Yeah, everybody knows that. But we as American citizens and Texans, right now, we need to say, you're not taking it from our cold, dead hands. Just like Charlton Heston used to say. From our cold, dead hands. So, that was like an NRA speech, wasn't it? Yeah. It's a brilliant speech. He had the rifle and it said, "From my cold, dead hands." That was an epic speech. I'm not really a supporter. My family are in law enforcement and been in served in the military and so forth. And a lot of family members like that. So, they like to hunt, they like to fish, they like to do a lot of outdoorsy stuff, which I like as well. I'm not actually a fan of guns, though. I'm not a fan of, I met people that have been stockpile into the world reserves of weapons. I don't really necessarily believe in that. Being armed, Benicio del Toro from Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, he's like, we're going to be armed to the fucking teeth. Like he's armed to the teeth or something like that. I love when he says that. We're going to be armed to the teeth. Yeah. Well, I'm not the biggest fan of guns. I've shot the .357 Magnum, the shotgun, the 9mm police issue extra chamber weapon. Yeah, I've shot some weapons before. I would know what to do. I figure you put bullets into the gun, you turn the safety off, and then pow, 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 pow. I think the mechanics of it are not really that difficult to understand. You put bullet into gun, and then make sure there's no safety on. You go, and then shit happens, right? The shit explodes. I mean, it doesn't blow up. I mean, the bullet is ejected from the chamber, and then the shell casing is expended, and then the lead is propelled through the action. Aerodynamics, voila, and then hopefully you're just shooting skeet. Pull. But if you had to, I guess you would have to shoot a person. And then the lead would go, and then maybe someone would get stuck in their body, and then maybe someone would go through. But it wouldn't be good for that person getting shot, because they'd be because we're kind of fragile beings in a lot of ways. Actually, we're probably a lot more fragile than we like to admit. So, I know how to fire weapons. I'm just not a big weaponeer. I'm not a weaponeer. If we're going to war or something, that's fine. If we're going to World War III, if the Chinese communists are dropping out of the sky and trying to take our land or something like that, then yeah, maybe I'll load up with a big ass arsenal. Maybe we need to. But, just in the so-called civilized world, I don't see much use for it a lot of times. So, what happened in the days when guys used to just fucking brawl? When it was What happened to the days when Austin Metcalf and Carmelo Anthony could just brawl it out? Nobody would have a knife or a gun. No taser, no gas, no poison gas, nothing. No brass knuckles. What happened to the days where people used to just punch it out? Queens of Mockberry's rules or whatever. Marquis Queensberry rules. What happened to that? When guys had a disagreement, then they just had a fist fight or something. Those were the days, I guess. I guess not everybody always followed those rules of the Queens, the Marquis of Queensberry rules. I guess not everybody followed those rules. If you didn't like someone, you had a disagreement. Maybe it was territorial. Maybe it was whatever. You don't belong here. You're in the wrong. We're the Spartans. You're the Trojans. Go over there. You're in the wrong fucking place, dude. Then the guys would say, "Hey, what? I'm not leaving. Then make me, bitch." And then the guy would go, "Oh yeah." And then they had a fight. And then maybe the guys would come and get them off, before somebody really gets fucked up, and be like, all right. And then security would break it up. But these days, kids are cowards. They bring guns and knives. I always say, a lot of people said, I'm the guy with the gun, I'm the guy with the weapon, so I'm the strong, I'm the wiser one. Not really. No, you're not. No. Wyatt Earp hardly even used weapons, except for, when he had to. Most of the time, he disarmed people, and he just stared them down and told them to stop fucking around. And Wyatt Earp, the great lawman from Kansas City, Missouri, a lot of times he never even fired a weapon at all. He just scared the shit out of his opponents. So it was psychological. My grandfather was that way. I knew not to mess with him. Is it because he was a bad man? No, he was a great man. I knew not to mess with him though. Because he had the handlebar, the cowboy mustache, and he looked at you. He's a big fucking dude. He's like 6'5", and he's like fucking railroad and Navy. He had fucking Vietnam tat and fucking railroad tat. Like, I'm gonna fuck with him. Yeah, right. I mean, this guy's fucking, dude, his shoulders are like fucking mountains. This motherfucker's just built like a cowboy wrestler or something. And so I just knew not to fuck with him, because he would say, are you doing anything wrong? Are you keeping your shit together? And I'd say, yes, Grandpa. Yeah. Yes, I am. Yeah. Because don't want any trouble here. So he had that Wyatt Earp effect where guys just knew not to fuck with my grandpa, because he was just he was just scary. He was intimidating. He didn't have to do anything. How many times did my grandpa have to whip a dude's ass? 0. Probably. Okay. I would say most people wanted nothing to do with my grandpa, and they were scared shitless when they saw a cowboy Hulk Hogan looking dude. Most people were like, I'm fucking out of here. And if they were stupid enough to fuck with him, then he would use the Wyatt Earp reasoning. He would say, do you really want to do this? Do you really want to fight me? Do you really want to see what happens? And so he would do a dead stare, and he would tell you the logic of the situation. Don't proceed any further, or there will be consequences. So he would tell you before. He'd give you warning, like a orange butterfly or something like that. It tells you it's poison. Don't do it. Don't eat me, because you're going to be history. So he had that great talent. He wasn't a lawman. He was a railroad guy, but he could have easily been a cop, because he was just fucking really intimidated, dude. Well, he could have been anything. I guess anybody could have been anything, right? Well, maybe not anybody could have been anything, but you know what I mean. There are similar professions that, whether it's the military or police work or even I guess railroad. I mean, hard labor. Men used to do hard labor, right? Men used to do hard labor on the railroad and they used to be mechanics that put the shit together and go pop and get the goods rolling. And back in the day, before too much automation and computers and stuff, men used to be men. Men used to work the fields and the fucking factories and the railroads and the fucking, men used to be out there busting ass on the fucking line. Men used to be tough. Men used to be rough. Men used to be something special. Now what? They're gonna have robots replace us or something? Yeah. Ouch. So we got the pitcher situation with the beer and the ice right there. So some people that arm themselves with a lot of weapons, guns or knives. I guess knives has been the order of the day. I guess guns are harder to hide. It's harder if you're walking around with pieces to get through security. A lot of people are using knives in the UK and the United States to stab people because, I think stabbers are cowards. They're cowards like Julius Caesar. They stab the Caesar, they go behind his back and they stab. That's why they call it backstabbers. That's somebody who stabs people. Typically, unless you're in real danger, real self-defense, you're a fucking coward. So this is the way of the coward. It's not the way of the strength of the strong, of the hero. It is not the way of a man to stab somebody who's not attacking you with a weapon. It is the way of the coward to stab, to use pepper spray. It is the way of the coward to use guns, to use foul play, to use unfair play. That's not good play. So if you brawl and it's broken up and the security comes, look, everybody lives. Everybody lives. You might get a black eye. You might maybe you get a tooth knocked out. Maybe you get your nose broken. Maybe your arm's dislodged. But that can heal back. But if you're stabbed to death, you're shot to death, you're never coming back. Hey, what's up? Oh, were you in the bathroom? Do some elixir. Oh, we ran out of the dietary Coke there. Oh no. The dietitian Coke. Yeah, what? People at the schoolyard, man, they used to just duke it out. So a guy would come up and say, I'm bigger than you, I'm gonna whoop your ass. So you either So if the bully in the school, in middle school, said, I'm bigger than you, I don't like you, I'm gonna whip your ass, then you could show up to the fight, or you could beat his ass, or you could get your ass beat and then you run away like a pussy and cry to your mommy. All right. So you could either avoid the fight, run away, you could confront the guy, get your ass hit, because usually it's bullies that like to hit. What basically the fights that in middle school, they want to. Basically, what happens is in middle school, the guy in 8th grade who's already bigger, almost hit puberty, he wants to beat up on the 7th and 6th grade kids because they're a lot smaller. Yeah. The big fish always wants to eat the little fish. Imagine that. Wow, genius. Yeah. So typically what would happen when I got bullied in middle school, it would be because almost pubescent motherfuckers or 8th graders, they would be hitting me or putting my face in the locker room when I was in 6th grade, when I just barely hit puberty, because they could get away with it. Unless it was really gratuitous, unless I was going home with fucking my whole face was bruised and bloodied or whatever. So usually it's like bullying that they can just barely get away with. They call you names and then they smash your face against the locker, but not so hard where you have to go to the hospital where they get in trouble, right? They're just doing it just barely. Just enough to prove that they're big and badass and strong, but not enough where they get in trouble, where they have to, get grounded by their parents and go to jail or whatever, or have to pay fines or whatever. So it's enough to abuse people, but without having to face consequences of their abuse, of being bullies. That's how bullies typically operate. So basically all crime is trying to get away with it without consequences. So that goes for Carmelo Anthony. That goes for, fucking Luigi Mangione. All bullies want to get away with the crime. Get away with it. They want to be able to hurt people, abuse people, but not get hurt themselves. See how the game works? So that goes for politicians, that goes for corruption, that goes for that. All the criminal code is all the same. I want to get away with hurting people, and I don't give a fuck how I do it, and I don't care what the ethics and morality of that is. I don't fucking care as long as I get away with it. As long as I get to hurt people, but they don't get to hurt me. That's it. Criminals are not complicated, they're very simple. And I just summed up criminals in a nutshell. But the thing about having law and order and justice is that criminals must pay for their crimes, whether it's rape, murder, incest, child molestation, atrocities, genocide, whatever it is. All criminals must pay for their crimes, obviously. In a just society, criminals will not be tolerated, and they shouldn't be tolerated. Yeah. So the basis of crime is I'm going to do bad things, I'm going to hurt people, but I'm not going to get any consequences myself. And the point of law and order and justice is to punish and to make sure that those criminals are held accountable for their crimes against our fellow man, against our fellow humans. And justice is supposed to be colorblind, no matter what ethnicity or what race or what class that person is in. It's supposed to work. Colorblind, class blind, ethnicity blind, all blind. Justice is supposed to be applied equally under the law. That's how it's supposed to work. I don't think that's what the justice system we have now going on around the world. That's the way it's supposed to work, though. in a free and fair and just society and a constitutional republic such as ours. I hope for the best outcome for the Metcalf family, the victims in this heinous stabbing of the heart of Austin Metcalf by Carmelo Anthony. For Carmelo Anthony himself, and no harm to his family or foul, but to Carmelo Anthony himself, he will answer to justice for being the perpetrator in a crime and murdering a man, stabbing a young man through his heart, and for the young man to never to have loved or to live or to have known anything beyond his 17th birthday. He'll be forever 17. He'll be forever dead. He'll never get a chance to live and learn anything. He'll never get a chance to fall in love, to have a girlfriend, to have a wife, to have a job, to go to college, to advance himself. He was a promising sports football guy. He would never have the chance to go to the college leagues, to the NFL. He never has any of those opportunities because he's fucking dead. I have no sympathy. Neither do most Texans. Neither do most people in this country. Neither do most people in this world have sympathy for Carmelo motherfucking Anthony. There's little sympathy for this guy, except just basic human, whatever, empathy or sympathy. Not really. I mean, a stone cold blooded killer doesn't really have any sympathy, even to the most maudlin of humans. So what's going to happen after the trial? The trial is going to be one big circus, one big race circus. And is the country ready for that? A big ass circus. A big ass race grifting, race baiting. There is a difference between O.J. Simpson. Okay. There are differences between these cases. This guy's clearly fucking guilty. He clearly cannot claim to be a victim if he is the perpetrator. He does have a big problem. He's not O.J. Simpson. He can't hire the best lawyers in the country. He doesn't have $10 million or $20 million like O.J. Simpson had. He obviously can't get that kind of representation that could bullshit the court and the jury to the certain extent that he gets a lower sentence. He's pretty much screwed, as he should be. So he's not a successful person. He wasn't even hardly ever became a person. He was just a young, almost 18-year-old, almost an adult dude that went into a sports rival's tent, sat in their tent, and then Austin Metcalf might have pushed him. He might have said, "Hey, dude, you don't belong here. You're in the opposite school team." But little did he know that Carmelo Anthony had a knife, and so he stabbed him through the chest, and he's dead. So there's not really such a thing as white riots, because white riots aren't really funded unless they're funded by the Democrats who wanted January 6th to happen so they could get their insurrection or whatever, because Trump wasn't reelected in 2020 because the stolen election of 2020, the Chinese global plague that they unleashed on us by the Wuhan, China, by our good friends in the... you know what? If you're going to do illegal and immoral acts, you go to China, right? Because they don't have any human ethics or morality. So if I was going to be Dr. Anthony Fauci and I was going to create a virus to sway political elections in the United States, well, man, I would go to Wuhan, China with Xi Jinping. I'd set up something like that. where we develop gain of function, illegal, unethical, immoral, gain of function fucking research to take over for my political party to take over this country out of fear of death. How convenient is that? But that's neither here nor there. We all know what happened, folks. We all know what happened in 2020, right? They stole the fucking election. It's not a fucking theory. Everybody knows what they did. Do you think Barack Hussein Obama Part 3 could have been elected in 2020 if there wasn't a Chinese plague roaming the earth, roaming this country? I don't fucking think so. Yeah, it's a stolen election. It's a BS election. Now, you kind of have problems saying that Joe Biden. How could the most unpopular motherfucker in all of American history, the most corrupt fucking bastard in all of fucking American history, the most plagiarist, lying, vile piece of shit, becomes the president in 2020, somehow defeats Donald Trump, one of the most popular icons and businessmen and Americans in all of American history, somehow gets defeated by someone that fucking nobody likes. Very curious, let's say, right? It's very curious. If somebody nobody fucking likes, everybody thinks is a demented jackass, corrupt asshole, becomes the president of the United States. Mysteriously, after a Chinese plague is released in November 2019. Good one. Yeah, good fucking try. Yeah, that's great. Hey, I guess George Carlin was right. The American dream is true. Because you got to be asleep to fucking believe it, right? Hey, man, with friends like these, you don't need enemies, dude. As the old saying goes, with friends like these, who needs enemies? I mean, at this fucking point. Holy shit. But, you know, as most of my Trump supporters and Trump aficionados and voters have said, you know, without exposing the deep state and the rot of the Democrat Party in this country, Americans would have never have known how evil they were and how evil Barack Hussein Obama and the Clintons and the fucking, how corrupt fucking Joe Biden was and everything. That Trump was defeated by the deep state and the Denpire in 2020 with the Chinese Wuhan plague. That was great because Americans had to suffer and we were persecuted for supporting Donald Trump. And we were persecuted and we were told by the leftist media that we were wrong, we were evil, and we were bad people, that the working class and the struggling class were shit people, and fuck them and fuck that shit. We gave them a big middle finger this past November. Kiss my ass, kiss it. And then Joe Biden probably did the death coffin nail to Kamala Harris's campaign. And then they did an interview with Joe Biden that called Trump supporters garbage. That was probably the end of Kamala Harris. That was probably the end of the Democrat Party, I think. That was like the end of it. The whole thing, the whole Democrat Party collapsed, I swear to God, when Joe Biden called any resistance to the Democrat Party garbage. That's when they were totally and completely fucked. So the elites were telling the bi-coastal elites in this country, Barack Hussein Obama, the Clintons, and the Bidens, and the left tech, Mark Zuckerberg, and the leftists in this country, and the communists and the Marxists, Sundar Pichai of Google Alphabet Corporation. They were telling us to get in line, slaves. And you know what? The voters and the workers in this country said, go fuck your own ass self. And so that's what we've done so far. We're not even finished cleaning house though yet. We're not even finished bringing our house in order. We've only just begun. American citizens haven't even begun to unleash the energy of the American people and the manufacturing away from China. We have not even begun to cause our enemies pain and suffering and maximum benefit for our people. We have not even begun to unleash our rare earths and our energies, our strengths, our power between Europe and America. We will not fall against this communist, leftist, Marxist hellscape. We've only begun. We had to get hurt, but when your enemy stabs you in the face, then you get back up and you realize, being a nice guy, it didn't really work out because I still got stabbed in the fucking face. Yeah. So if you're able to survive getting the plague from China, then you get up out of your hospital bed or get up out of your bed, you realize these fuckers want to fucking kill me. Yeah. What do you think? When the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor, the guys that were burned alive and dead, they had a realization. These people want to fucking kill me. They want to kill my country. They want to kill us. They want to kill Texas. They want to kill Missouri. They want to kill New York. They want to kill Kansas. We have to fight back. It is serious. But it's too bad that when your enemy has been telling you, they've been telling you for years, right? They want to kill you. And then suddenly they do. And then people are shocked. I think we should kind of preempt what they're going to do. So Iran says death to America. Well, maybe we should have death to Iran. Maybe the Chinese communists said, you want war? We'll destroy you. Why don't we destroy them first? Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yo,
I'm sorry. I think we have a little bit of an emergency.
what happened?
Oh, I think Bella needs to maybe go to the bathroom.
She needs to poo-poo?
Well, I don't know if she poo-pooed today, but
I made her poop and pee.
I know, but either she's got to pee or something.
Oh, okay.
Something.
All right. You want to take it down?
I just can't carry it.
Oh, yeah. I'll take it down.
Okay. I'm sorry.
No, sir.
You need your flip-flops or the shoes?
No, I think. Oh, you got flip-flops?
Yeah.
All right. You just take it out?
Well,
We just cooked the other.
I don't know if you
She just cooked it?
I don't know. I gave her some lunch meat. Those two little pieces that were left.
Yeah.
But she keeps coming up to me and saying mama and all that.
Oh.
And I know she can't be hungry.
No. Well, maybe she needs to. She needs a DP. Did you have enough fresh sheet on? Okay, that's fine. Oh, she's such a good baby.
She just keeps coming up.
Just see what I'm. Oh, we have a. Is she right? Yeah.
She wouldn't go to bed.
Yeah. Bow, 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 bow.
Oh.
Yeah, it's just I guess yeah.
I'm sorry.
What's up? What? What? Are you talking about fart? Oh, what's up? What's funny?
Oh, I was just gonna tell you something.
Yeah, what's funny?
We should open up a doggy daycare.
A doggy daycare?
We already have a doggy daycare.
Doggy daycare? Yeah, no, you know it's weird when I had the daddy daycare shirt from the Tinseltown. The black guy came out with the two kids in the apartments. And he goes, I'm the daddy daycare. When I came out one day,
Yeah.
he saw me with the daddy daycare shirt. That's so random that I have the daddy daycare shirt.
Yeah.
That's not even like a I never even seen it.
The movie?
It's a crappy movie.
I never watched it because I heard it was a crappy movie.
It was a crappy movie, yeah. But it was funny because I had daddy daycare and the black guy with the two black daughters, he goes, I'm the daddy daycare. And I thought that was so funny because
Yeah, you were walking Bella.
I was walking outside, yeah.
With
He goes,
Bella. Or-
yeah, he goes, I'm the daddy daycare. I love that part. That was funny. He goes, I'm the daddy daycare. I'm the big daddy. Maybe laughed, dude. Killing me. No, I worked at movie theaters from like I was like 17 to like 2003, and then they had this movie Eddie Murphy was called Daddy Daycare. So I had this fucking T-shirt called Daddy Daycare, and so we started calling with a new puppy we called it Doggy Daycare. Wait, that's a good idea. What if they have a Eddie Murphy movie and call it Doggy Daycare, where he like takes care of dogs this time? Yeah, Eddie Murphy. Yeah, it's like, my beer almost fell over because the ice melted because it's Texas. Shit's always melting in Texas. This is like the anti-ice age in here. Oh, have an ice rage. Yeah, the black guy said, I'm the daddy daycare. But he was really funny about it. He was really cool about it. So it was like a neighbor next door. Like it was a black dude and he had like two teenage African American daughters. And then so I'm wearing like Eddie Murphy shit. Just because I was working these movies and stuff. So he's like, I'm the daddy daycare. I'm glad it wasn't like walking out a white dude with like Tupac Shakur shit on or something. He probably would have been like, what if I was the white guy and then next to all the black residents, like I was always wearing like Tupac and like Tupac Shakur and Biggie Smalls and P. Diddy. And I was always wearing like Eddie Murphy stuff and like I was always wearing like African American pop culture stuff. Yeah, they're pretty crazy. I'm not trying to stereotype that black people sound like, what y'all be doing all? I'm not trying to stereotype. It's just that's what it sounds like to me. Sounds like I mean, it doesn't sound like Chinese. That's like Chinese sounds like That's different, dude. Well, almost to an hour of this shit? Hell yeah. I mean, I wasn't like my friend in Washington, D.C. We went to the old Blockbuster Video in 2001. There was, everybody's black in Washington, D.C. except for the politicians and stuff. So everybody in Washington, D.C. itself is African American. So it's like, my friend's laughing because he's like Dutch. He's like Elon Musk or something. And the dude in the Blockbuster's like, hey, baby, whatever you like, baby. My friend's laughing and stuff at the street jive, and I'm like, yeah, we can laugh at this shit, but or we could not laugh at this shit. Maybe this shit's not funny, you know. I tried to go to hillbilly places. I went to Arkansas, and I used to watch Dukes of Hazzard growing up, and I saw people in suspenders, and I saw, just a good old boy, never done a hawk. Sometimes, the stereotypes, they're kind of like, yeah, sometimes, yeah. No, I mean, I laughed too. The guy in the Blockbuster was black, and he was like, whatever kind of movie you want, baby. Me and my friend were in D.C., and we thought, hey, let's check out a movie about D.C. So we checked out, I think, D.C. Cab with Mr. T and shit for some reason. Goofy white guys in a black, city and stuff. Like, let's do the most goofy shit that white guys could do. I almost hang out with some brothers. I almost went to a club with some brothers. You can't just roll up into the African neighborhood and the African American neighborhood and just, you're a white guy. You have to build the trust. You know what I mean? You got to build the rapport before, you can hang out with the brothers. So what happened? Then a guy was like, "Hey, you wanna come out with us? You want to party?" Yeah, and I was like, I almost did it, but I didn't stay in DC that long. But otherwise, I would have been at the club. I would have been at the club with the brothers. Well, that would have been. It's too bad I didn't stay that long because I was almost got enough rapport with the brothers to go out to the club. So, yeah. I'm not talking about when you need cigarettes and you go in the black club because you need cigarettes. I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about like where your car breaks down and you go in the black club because you need to get on the telephone. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying when you're invited to the African club. That's different. You know what I mean? That means you're accepted by the community and everything. That's a whole new level. Oh well, I didn't stay in DC long enough to go to Tony's club. So. Unfortunately. And Jamal. Don't forget about Jamal. Jamal was really cool, dude. Jamal. I had one boss that looked like Steve Harvey. I swear to God. And then, man, they had this white girl in D.C. that was my boss at the movie theater. She had fucking the biggest ass tits. I mean, these tits were like fucking this round each. They were almost distracting tits. I was like, oh my God, this woman is hot. And she has some of the biggest titties I've ever fucking seen in my life. But she was like my superior, so I wasn't, trying to grab titties or whatever. So, you know what I mean? Because of trying to be employed and all that. So if you're trying to be employed, you don't just say, oh, women look good, grab titties. Right? I mean, you could be fired. Yeah, it was kind of weird because all the bosses were kind of hanging out, like kind of trying to get a feel for me during the interview. And then it was like the dude who looked like Steve Harvey or whatever. And then it was like the white woman with the big hooters. But the boss was like this scrawny, like white dude. And then Yeah. And then I met the projectionist. He was like this old dude. This really old, cool dude. He had a beard. He was a dorky guy. He was a nerd. I mean, he was a big time fucking nerd, folks. He had glasses. He had a beard. He's working the projection. And he's like, hey, let me show you the projection room. Oh, you've worked in movies before, eh? And I was like, yep. And then Jamal and I went to the roof. And then hanging out with Jamal. Well, what the coolest thing about the Washington, D.C. is they had these cool rooftops. And so you look at these roofs, like if you look at like Washington, D.C., you not only see the famous monuments, but you see all these like amazing rooftops. So if you go on the rooftop in D.C., it's like, look at all these fucking roofs. You know, in Houston, it's everything's all flat and spaced out. It's coastal. So you don't really see all these roofs. These roofs. And in a big city, I can see, man, there's all these fucking roofs. You know what I mean? I could go outside right now and see roofs. But man, in fucking DC and New York, New Jersey or something, man, look at the fucking roofs in the Northeast. See building after building after building. All the fucking roofs. You know what I mean? The motherfucking, like, go to the roof and you see all the other roofs. Just like roofs. If you're into roof porn, go to Washington, D.C. Go to the roof and just look at all the roofs. If you're into that. It was so dope. Look at all these fucking buildings, bro. I bet I'd be flabbergasted by New York, right? Because they got a lot of buildings, a lot of roofs. I mean, I'm like, look at all these fucking buildings. I'm from Texas. There's wide open plains and hills and forests and what the fuck? There's all these buildings. Look at all these fucking roofs. I'd probably be like, so many motherfucking roofs. So many fucking buildings. Ah. My brain would probably be like malfunction or something. If I went as far east as like Boston, Massachusetts, I should have just kept going. When I got to DC, I should have just went to Boston, Massachusetts, and then I should have went to fucking New York City, New York. I should have just went all the way up that bitch. Like, fuck it. What's to lose? You just gain more informatory information with a beer. All right. I didn't go to New York because people from the South and people from the country were like, that place sucks. That's the ghetto. They were like, that's a fucking slum. And so I didn't go there. It sounded unappealing, I suppose. Well, I mean, I wish there was enough frog lighting, but I think I avoided that one frog earlier. So I'm hoping I didn't step on any other frog during mating season, because that would really disturb my ass. I don't want to disturb the frogs, because they need to mate this season to create more frogs for the next frog, for the swamp, for the coastal swamp of Houston, Texas. In the Gulf of America. Jamal, dog. Who was the girl? I know one was called Tanya, and the other black lady was called LaQuisha. I was just playing. No, one girl was called Tanya. I'm just playing. One girl was called LaQuisha. I'm just playing. One of the black girls was called LaTanya. No, she was called Shaka Kwanya. I'm not even making that up. So this was in this Washington D.C. Movie theater, a Mazda Gallery. There were the regular screens, and then in the back they had some screens that they had two bartenders. It was an African lady who was kind of hot, and they had one dude who was kind of like African Arabic that was on the other bar, and so like to get like a liquor and Coke cost at the special. There were some of the first theaters in the country to have like liquor and movies, and like so it was called General Cinema, and it became AMC Mazda Gallery. It just closed down a few years ago. So, anyways, rest in peace, Mazda Gallery. Yeah. I mean, a lot of people think, oh, I'm choosing where I'm at. Sometimes time chooses you where you go. So, I've never really felt totally in charge of my destiny. I always felt like, well, if I'm someplace that I was fated to be there, or I'm supposed to be there. I never actually felt that I planned my life to where I'm to the places that I want to be or have to be at each time that I'm supposed to be. Sometimes I just think I was supposed to be there because of fate or some kind of cosmic reason why I was supposed to be there. So, I mean, not everybody feels that way, but that's the way I've always felt about it. Like when I look at my life, I just think, well, I've been to places, but it's because I was there at those places because not because I chose them actually, but is there such a thing as a free will, freedom of choice? But anyways, I digress from that particular philosophical conundrum. So I'm working my butt off, and then one of the guys says, Scott, dude, you're just not a worker. And he told me, man, you're just not a worker bee. And I said, well, I want to be a worker bee. I want to work hard. I want to work. But he said, Scott, you're just not a worker. Quit trying to work. What are you doing? And it kind of like hit me, when I was 21. Like he said, dude, look, you're not a worker. You're a thinker. You're a doer, but you're not like a guy in the pit mining the mines. You're a guy who has a different destiny than that. And that kind of shook me up. I still think about it to this day. Like I have a photographic eidetic memory, so I've been supported by the African American community ever since back in the day. They always are like, you're the one. We know you. We know you got this. They've always supported me throughout many times, and so I always remember that's true. So whether it was in New Orleans, whether it was Washington D.C., whether I was broke and poor, the African American community has never failed to support me. So, but that's not wokeness or virtue signaling. It's really the truth. They've always really, really believed in me. So all this time, even today. So maybe people who give dark words, negative words, I don't always remember, but those that gave me kind inspiration, I always remember for their support throughout these years. So sometimes a kind word, some inspiration, is worth any money. So sometimes telling your young neighbor you can do it, you got this, sometimes it goes a long way.